You ain't gonna get me, just him. He's gonna do it. He's doing the intro today.
What's up, punk rockers? How you? I'm James with Clark's Cranes. We're over here checking out the grow room at our place today. So this is where the magic happens. This is where it all starts. We start everything in here from seed before it goes outside to our farm, our little farm outside. So we have 2 racks that we grow everything on right now. Everything in here is fed by full spectrum LED and some plant and fish bowls with shop lights. Right now we've got a lot of pepper plants in here and some lettuce. And we're just starting our tomato and basil for the next round. But this is kind of where the magic happens at the beginning here. We start everything from seeds, so it gives us an opportunity to really track its production and just really monitor the health and the growth of the plant. So the green room kind of just started because we got tired of growing in our living room, and I had a lot of stuff on our dining room table, and we had to kind of move it. So we started to incorporate a bedroom into our little grow room. So we're growing a lot of tomatoes and basil right now. Pepper plants, like I said a moment ago. All of these are different varieties of pepper plants, all at different stages. Some have been topped to encourage growth, and others are just doing their thing. So we've got them in all different stages right now, and hopefully going to have a little tiny greenhouse outside pretty soon, to where we can move these outside and let them live a little bit longer in the cooler months before we move into spring and summer. But
I got to be a smart ass already this morning. He has a label, and I asked if it was his R2D2 variety. It's 114.
And I would have to check the pepper variety. I gotta check my list to see what that is.
R2D2 variety.
It definitely looks like R2D2. But I mean, yeah, and the numbering systems helped us as well, save a lot of time with that. I mean, that's huge time saver. So yeah, really happy with that now. Now versus numbers versus having right
Each one, and have a list.
Yeah, and saves time typing everything. So. But yeah, we start everything in here. We're really working on succession planting right now, so that's really the biggest focus. Trying to get better at always having produce and always having starts and always having something in the ground versus having gaps. I feel like last year we had gaps where we would have produce and then we wouldn't have produce, or we'd have lettuce and then it's 5 weeks till we have lettuce. So we started using this calendar that's in our hallway right now to kind of plan everything out and really stay ahead of the planting to ensure that we're planting at least every week or 2 weeks, depending on what the variety is, specifically with lettuce and some of the quicker growing items. So we always have produce available. Again, focusing on succession planting, we're going to do a lot of intercropping this year as well. So the plan, once we get outside, I'll show you, is we're going to be using our full rows and really try not to have any visible soil in the rows this year. If there's a space and there's water, I want to grow something in it. So we're going to try to really focus on interplanting and intercropping to get as much as we can out of the space that we have. So.
And you make all your starting soil?
Oh yeah, so we make all of our seed starting mix here at the house. We basically start out with coconut coir, so our base is coconut coir, and then we add in worm castings, perlite, some alfalfa meal. We have some other amendments that we use, like blood meal, bone meal. I keep azomite, which is rock dust, outside. We bottom feed with like liquid kelp. If I ever need some other ones, I picked up some other amendments if I ever need to focus on a specific nutrient. Haven't really broken into those yet, but our main ingredients are just those right there, the alfalfa meal and the worm casting specifically do a lot of really good stuff in bone meal and blood meal for nitrogen and different ingredients. So try to keep it as clean as possible, track it all from the beginning. So like I said, coconut coir is the base out of all of our soil, and we get this nice, just rich, there's a little worm casting right there, potting soil and seed starting mix. Also, you'll see earthworms growing in this stuff because the worm castings have eggs in them. So, and occasionally we'll throw little leaves in there, so you might see some green in there as well, and just let it break down in compost as well. We also started composting all of our food waste and scraps. So when we do trimmings and prunings and things like that, all that stuff gets thrown in little compost bins or a compost pile just to make more soil for stuff outside and inside. So you'll see this stuff. That's just natural pest control. gnats are attracted to yellow, so it's just sticky tape, no pesticides. And then we have our recent addition, which is that pitcher plant for some more pest control on some of the flies that we get. Typically inside, we don't really battle with bugs. Occasionally, if we bring something in from outside, I might get some aphids in here, and we have released ladybugs before. That was exciting because I had to put a towel by the door to make sure they didn't get out into the house because we had little alligator-looking things all over the place, little nymphs. And I got a lot of questions about what is this bug, and I was like, don't worry, pick it out, put it in the grow room, it's beneficial. So we have released ladybugs in here before, and that was really cool. But that's because we started bringing plants in and out. So typically, these grow, and then they go outside, so we don't have any kind of pest issues in-house. We'll get at least, obviously with using earthworm castings, you will have like soil gnats or some kind of little gnats that comes up, or you might bring in a gnat from outside. So usually these things take care of them, but there's typically no bug pressure in here anymore. When we did a lot of in and out, we were dealing with like white flies or aphids, so just different things like that, and got to nip it in the butt.
Yeah.
This is where the magic. This is where it all starts.
Yeah. We did ladybugs last year.
Yeah.
We like made them a little home and all that stuff. You know, they say to do it, and they stayed for probably about a month and a half.
Yeah.
But the more research that I did about them, it's not really the ladybugs that you get that eat so much. It's the baby ones.
Yeah,
so it's like you have to wait for them to lay and have their cycle, and then those are the ones that are going to come, and they're the hungry ones for the aphids. So it's like if you're gonna do it, it's a system that you have to like really have set up. And I mean, I'll remember it for next time. But I mean, we pretty much have a jump on everything with neem oil and stuff like that, so we know what we need to do.
Yeah, I've used the neem before in like Dr. Bronner's. If it gets really heavy, it's like a soap, an organic soap mixture with neem oil.
We use the same things.
Yeah, we're also focusing on an integrated pest management program this year. I'm gonna be ordering my first round of I always pronounce it wrong, trichogramma, which is like a caterpillar parasite and ladybugs and some lacewings, and the plan is to order a little bit every month for the next few months because we've got to stay ahead of the pests. Unfortunately, like the life cycle of ladybugs is a lot longer than the life cycle of aphids and things like that. So all these little soft bodies that are eating everything, they reproduce in days, whereas the predators take months or weeks. So trying to stay ahead of the pest thing this year outside and keeping it clean is something we're really focusing on because last year we had caterpillars, but we released the parasites late, and so we got kind of a late start, and then we found ourselves picking off more caterpillars than we were actually killing with the natural causes. So trying to decrease labor and increase productivity at the same time. So staying on top of the beneficials. I'm gonna try assassin bugs this year also.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for those because those are really cool.
Yeah.
But gonna actually buy some and import some. So.
Now we didn't get any caterpillars or anything until the very end of the season.
Oh yeah.
Like that was it, and they got.
Hornworms.
I mean, yeah, we don't ever get hornworms. And then what did we get? We got aphids at the farm.
Aphids at the farm.
Yeah. We had so many hornworms this year. So freaking many hornworms this year.
I guess at your size, you have a little because you got a lot more space for them to get to.
It's just
so.
moths, but that's the thing. Also, like there's I found that there is a specific moth parasite or parasite for the moth larva that will help with like even vine borers.
Oh, okay.
I think the name of it, I have to look it back up, but I heard it on a podcast from Farm Small, Farm Smart.
Yeah.
And he had a lady from Arbico on, and she was talking about it. I wrote down the name on one of my pads, but it's some kind of a parasite that targets that. So just trying to think of all those little things to kind of keep it as clean as possible because we don't spray. I mean, like you said, neem oil and Dr. Bronner's is the worst we'll do if we ever need to do something.
Same here.
Well, we don't use any, it's my cat, sorry, we don't use any herbicide or pesticides or anything like that.
Yeah,
so we try to keep it just...
I think we're pretty good with the moths and everything. We don't really have that problem because we have zigzag spiders.
Yeah.
And I mean, they just reproduce. We just have they eat everything. I mean, and it's right there. They set up their nest right next to where the back light is.
Oh, cool.
And so the moths are drawn to it, and then they get right in there. And then I mean, we have all these zigzag spider like pods that are like all over the place. So I don't know if they're eggs or if they're gonna lay some more or if they're gonna hatch or whatever. So I'm like, just do what they do. So
yeah, I'm always catching spiders in the house and releasing them back outside. I'm like, just go eat something outside. Just go eat something outside, And you just try to keep it as clean as possible, because I mean, our focus has just been grow as clean and quickly as we can. And so even with like feeds and stuff, that kelp meal. All that stuff, it works really, really well, the bottom feed, when you're growing inside. So, like we've got lettuce that needs to go outside now, and I think that's only about 3 weeks old right there on the shelf. So that is a really good size. That on the left is Cherokee Red, and I believe that's Benefine. I always mix up Benefine and Mirror. But those are 2 of the 3 varieties that we're growing. So, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty excited with it. I mean, this is kind of where it starts.
Looks good.
Yeah, and then I'll show you outside next.
Cool.
And we have all of our seeds and stuff that we keep stored in our little secret chamber over here.
Your cold chambers?
It's like a cold chamber. It actually holds temp in the grow room.
It's got to be that mirror. It's got to be.
Yeah,
it's got to be.
mean,
You know,
I've
something
got one
coming off
sensor here that tracks the grow room on my phone. I'm gonna throw another one in there just to confirm it. But every time I grab a seed out of there, no matter what temperature is in here, the packages are cool. So, yeah, and we get a lot of stuff from Johnny's and stuff. So, and then also, if you're still recording, definitely give a shout out to these guys. I've tagged them before, but these are the trays that we start all of our stuff in now. This is the 72 cell wind strip tray from Neversink Farms, and if you definitely haven't checked these out, I mean, Neversink Farms up in New York has some great stuff. Shout out to them. We buy a lot of our stuff from them because they're really good. I mean, these trays will last you decades.
I'll leave their link. Link in the bio.
Yeah, so. Really freaking awesome. Really impressed with them. I honestly, I don't think I'll buy another. I mean, I've got so many seed trays and things that we've used before in the past that we still have. But these are my go-tos now.
Yeah.
You know, I only dabble with like 6-packs for specific varietals now. If I have like a small space, like I'm growing, these are going to be the only large tomatoes that we grow this year. They're a green variety. I think they're green zebra. So that's the time I'll bust out those for the grow system is that. But everything else it starts in a 72 cell and then goes to a 3 or 4 inch round, and then it goes in the ground. Yeah. And that's as far as we transplant. We used to transplant a lot. Like we used to go from these to these, and then into
that's
those.
That's just way too much.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I gotta figure this out. So smarter, not harder. You know, it's taken us a couple of years, seasons, if you will, to get there. But I think we're starting to dial in the systems now.
That's like for our size, for what we have right now, everything is in 4-inch rounds.
Yeah.
And then like the stuff we started the farm, it's corn, so we're going to direct sow into it, so we don't have to transplant any of that. So
I've actually transplanted corn. It's been really successful. I've actually done that before.
Yeah.
But I started them directly in the 3-inch, 4-inch rounds, and then went to soil. But I've actually had good success with that. I'm doing beets for the first time transplanted. I played with some in winter. Didn't go well. They were under the wrong light. They got leggy, so I just scrapped them and made some compost. But I'm doing beets in these now.
I think Cody said that he transplants all of his.
Yeah,
he doesn't.
I've heard from everybody, like big growers now that transplant beets.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
see, I've always heard like the opposite, but now that I know that, I'm like, it's gotta be interesting.
Yeah.
I heard this a shout out again, San Diego Seed Company on San Diego. This lady named Brigitte, she transplanted radishes. Also, she does. I saw one of her videos a year ago or so. She transplanted radishes from cells, and I was like, hell yeah, because I have some radishes that I sprinkled and I hand planted. It's just more time than it's worth.
Yeah.
You know, I don't use a seeder yet, so we're going to probably think of a Jang eventually for like radishes and things like that. I'm thinking we'll get a Jang seeder. But right now, if this works out the way I'm hoping it's going to work out with beets, we might not even get a seeder because everything right now is just.
I'm buying Cody's. Yeah. He's got an old one. He's buying one of those 5-row ones. He's like, I don't need. He goes, I get you a good price. So if you ever want to borrow it, feel free.
Yeah, I mean, we're not large scale enough to use like a paper pot. I love the way that looks. I love the way that works for like the chain rows and stuff to do like large scale greens. We're just not big enough for that yet. So, but I think a Jang seeder for like radishes and little end crops would be really good.
Yeah, that's what his is. I don't know if it's actually the Jang or it's the other. Other one, but I mean, his just it's just the seed and then you just roll that thing right on.
And you just go. Yeah. So it's been really. I mean, I really enjoy this setup, and even as manual as it is, there's not a lot of upkeep, you know.
Yeah.
You water like every 3 days. You do have to watch the temp. We have a fan on right now because we're trying to cool the room off. That is the only thing about the inside growing is we're switching from plant fish bulbs to more full spectrum LED because of the heat in here. So as it gets into spring and summer, this room will get up to 84, 85. No issues with germination though. Again, during the fall and during winter, everything germinates in here beautifully because it stays 75, 76 when it's 40 or 50 degrees outside because of the lights that we're using on one of the racks. So we don't even have to use hot pads for peppers or tomatoes or anything like that. Typically, as long as we didn't bury the seeds too deep, we get beautiful germination. Didn't mess up a tray of lettuce, buried them too deep though, and got 0 germination. So but yeah, overall, no germination problems because of the temperature in the room. Works out pretty swell. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
That's kind of how we started out. This is I think we've kind of reached the capacity in here, but again, I think that greenhouse will help us outside
Well, I mean, you still got a foot up there. You could probably
You
could build it over the window.
I feel like the ceiling fan gets in the way, and I'm like, what I can do. I definitely know I could put more lights in here, but then my only worry is the temperature, because even LEDs put off a little bit.
Right.
You know, but yeah, I mean, I'm just, you know, we've got our microgreen to-go clamshells on top shelves, so I'm out of the way. So yeah, just trying to keep it as efficient as we can. But yeah, kind of the science lab and workshop area, you know.
Right on.
Always have a project going. Those are just my microgreen trays drying. Yeah. Just chilling over there.
Chilling.
Yeah.
Microgreens.
Yeah. And it's, I mean, it's like an office. I mean, it's even the office. Our printer's up top. We're drying basil seeds on top of the printer right now. That's kind of like a little mini office right there. Laptop and our cell phone hooks up to just Bluetooth to the printer, so we can just print labels and stuff. And you know, it doubles as the office, doubles as the workshop, and so yeah. This is the start.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Sweet.
Cool. Let's check out the major garden.
Stuff in the back. Like the chew stuff.
It's all.
And this is kind of our outdoor grow. There's a lot of stuff still in project phase right now, but we do everything in rows now. So we just started reassembling these trellises, and I've just kept everything wrapped up from last year, so all the stuff swings over. But these are real simple, real easy to assemble trellises. This is going to be all cucumbers all the way down. So this
80-foot beds?
80-foot beds,
Yeah.
absolutely spot on. These are 80-foot beds. Yeah,
I'm like, these look like 80-foot beds. Cause it wasn't far enough to be 100. But
nope,
like,
these are 80-foot beds.
That's
absolutely.
awesome.
So, ideally, I'd like to use a 7-foot tall post. I have some 6-footers, so those next 2 rows are going to be shorter, but that'll be tomatoes and probably peppers, which is fine. But
you could always put some PVC extensions.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You know, and then
That's
you could
true.
just raise
Actually,
it up,
you know
and
what?
then
There
you could
go.
just put a screw on there or something.
Well, that's
or
happening
a
now.
clamp. Put a clamp on there to hold the PVC from coming down.
Yeah, that's going to be our project then. And it's a real simple setup. I use a fence post driver. You just come over. I use stakes and this little guide wire. It's just all it is baling twine that I got a roll of for like really cheap on Amazon one year.
Yeah.
And I still haven't made a dent in the roll.
It's the same stuff that we use to put in like privacy fences. So
Yeah.
that's what we roll it out, and you know, we mark the holes and
Yeah.
we dig them out and we put the post in. So
If she keeps, I'm going to put her inside it. That way she doesn't interrupt. But we leave the guide wire on the rows all year long. So unless it snaps or something bites it or something, we don't ever move that. So that way we always know where our rows are. Typically it's 3-row drip irrigation. That other row, it's drip tape. Yeah, it's just drip tape.
Yeah.
And I'll show you. I'll show you the setup that we have, or the tape that I have. That 4th row is a 5-row or 5 line. I'm actually going to take it back to 3 because it puts off a little bit too much water. I had it on 5 because it was our tomatoes last year, and that's one of the rows that we haven't set up yet. So this was our first bed of lettuce, which we just recomposted and remixed in, and you can kind of see the perlite in this. We reuse our soil, so when it's done, if we compost a plant or something dies, doesn't make it, it goes into a compost pile or compost bucket. We re-add those minerals and nutrients, mix it up, and then we just drop it right back in the rows to add it back into the mixture. So we try to reuse as much as we can, so we're not just wasting. And then this was all lettuce up until about a week ago, and then this is all a mixture. We have our Cherokee Red, the Benefine and Mir, some kale. This is what I was telling you about the radishes, where I just kind of sprinkled them in, and I was like, let's see what happens. They're kind of spacey and patchy, and not really as ideal, but they're what are they called? Daikon radishes, so they're going to be a bigger variety. So they're going to go for a while, and then we have some more.
you're gonna be thin in a minute.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Anyway, so.
Yeah. So, and then some more lettuce. This is our second cropping of lettuce. This is the basil I was talking about. It was really nice and beautiful, and then we got our cold freeze, and it's browned out. So we're just letting it go to seed now. I'm gonna chop this out and replant it. But I'm just gonna let these pods go now and just harvest seeds. That's the other basil, one of the other basils that we grow. But then this is our last lettuce row. This is probably one of our straightest rows that we did of lettuce, which was really nice. And it's just, we finally got the spacing kind of dialed in. And then you're just watching, we had a bunch of hay that we got, so we just used hay mulch. So instead of having to get any kind of wood chips or anything, we just dropped hay down. But then at the end, we stopped the trellis like 10 feet shy. I'm pretty sure we're gonna do like the lavender once it's propagated, and like basils and herbs. We want to kind of have like a little flowering row on the back end of everything to just encourage pollinators consistently. So we always have something flowering because we have to trim out our crepe myrtles because we're using everything as it is. I don't want the one in the center to shade out everything during the summer. So with doing that, we still need to have some flowers that kind of attract some pollinators. But yeah. You know, this with what we also did with our drip irrigation is like everything's on top, so we didn't do anything in ground. We didn't dig specifically because it was just a lot of work and limestone and stone. So at the end of each emitter and row, there's an on and off, so we can really control the water flow now. And then I'm going to end cap each row with a piece of the main line, so we have a closed system. And I want to do a closed system for better water flow and better control as well, because even though we have them capped at the end, there's still a little bit of leakage sometimes. Yeah. So a closed system will give us better water control and pressure. So that's the next goal. And then I put an L on that for some reason when I was making it, probably because there was something here or here, but now I'm going to just straighten it back out and go all the way down to the cactus, so that way we just have a straight line and we're maximizing the rows. But this is kind of the in-between right now. You know, we're switching over from winter to spring now, so all of this will be trellises and everything will be vertical in the next 2 months, and as soon as you open that door, there'll be walls of cucumbers and tomatoes. And
that's awesome.
So it'll look a lot different in the next 2 months, but this is all the grind time for us right now, you know, especially when it's cooler outside and you can actually hang out.
Yeah.
You know, it's actually enjoyable to work outside even when it sucks.
Yeah,
you know? If we ever spray amendments, like the kelp meal in bulk, we'll use this thing to just spray like some fish kelp. But then you come back in, smell like the ocean, so you gotta be careful with that. But then out here, this is our little fruit orchard where we thought about putting some. Actually, this is where we also thought about putting some chickens. You can come over, everybody. Come on. We thought about putting the birds back here also because of the 6-foot gate, so that way our dogs couldn't get real curious with them. This is one of the apricot trees that we brought from my old place in a container. It's going to take the place of this cherry tree that didn't make it, but you can already see it's starting to bud.
Yeah.
So we've kept it alive through the winter and everything, and so we're going to get it in the ground. But we've got, and obviously they don't really look like much right now, but it's a cherry tree, 2 olive trees, 2
Olaven.
Olaven, 2 apricot, and then 2 peach. And then these are golden raspberries up the middle, 4 grapes on the end, and then this is kind of our little berry patch. It's like a little work in progress. I gotta fix the soil on that. It needs more acidic soil, so I've been really working on the hay and the mulch over there to just make sure that that is gonna be set for spring. And then this is just me soaking hay, because we're gonna, and this is where that other row of mainline came in. So I used a little bit of it over there, but I used the entire other row here to make our basically 4 lines. So it's 1, 2, 3, and then 1 for the berry lines, and then off of the berry I run drip. So, and everything's above ground. We didn't put anything in the ground, so I still like it like that. I don't think I'm going to change that, but then you have an issue with like making sure you know where the line is, so that way you don't step over it. If you're going to come through here and weed or mow, just know where your line is.
Spray paint it.
Yeah.
You know, take a little bit of that highlighter paint and
the orange
just kind of just tag it a little bit.
That's definitely working. And this is just soaking hay, so that way it breaks down. Because we have all those hay bales, so we're gonna turn this into some nice wet mulch, put it around the trees, and this is just the process that we're doing to break it down because it's really, really dense together. But we want that because as that breaks down, it also feeds and forms some beneficial molds and things that we need on our plants.
Put some plastic on it and let it get a little heat.
Oh yeah.
Help it.
We're just the first watering right now, so the water will be used to feed as well. It just breaks down, but I want it to actually get hot and mold over a little bit because that's what we're going to use. And so by breaking this down and using this, it should not only help with grass and weed control, but it should help keep the trees nice and moist. And then we're going to put in some stakes for that. So this, the grapes will all pop back. That was their first year. They were real small when we got them, and we tried to kind of trellis them. You see some clips where we tried to get them to grow. We're trying to cane them, which is why there's 3 levels. So we'll keep working on that this year. I think about year 3 or 4, we'll have grapes, like really nice grapevines.
Yeah.
They take a little bit longer because we just water them the way they're supposed to be watered and just let them do their thing. And so,
Yeah.
see what happens.
We have a few. Right home.
It's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
All right. Well, thanks for showing us around. We've got some chores to do. You'll get this vlog tomorrow. We'll have another one out in a few days, and we're gonna get some chores done. So thank you.
Yeah.
Sir.
Thanks for coming out, guys.
And we'll see you later.